Welcome to the class. Once again, today we are going to take respiration. In previous class, we have the different steps, how different steps of are there, as well as the types of respiration. Here we had discussed aerobic respiration in detail, isn't it? So in today's class, we are going to discuss anaerobic respiration. So now, what is anaerobic respiration? Yeah. So anaerobic respiration, or we can say that the respiration takes place in absence of oxygen is called as an anaerobic. A very simple, isn't it? So when oxidation of food does not require oxygen or it occurs in absence of oxygen, then that process is called as anaerobic. Got it, students? So is it possible that the oxidation of food take place without oxygen? Yeah. So definitely sometimes it is true. Yes, anaerobic respiration can take place in some plants. Sometimes in plants, we can say as well in muscle cells of animals. Yeah. In case of humans also, yes, human muscle cells can also show the anaerobic. So we are going to discuss about this in today's class. Got it, students? Shall we start? है ना, शुरू करते हैं एनारोबिक रेस्पिरेशन. जैसे कि मैंने बताया कि एनारोबिक दैट मीन्स जो ऑक्सीजन के एब्सेंस में जो फूड का ऑक्सीडेशन होता है और एनर्जी ऑप्टेंड होती है उसको हम बोलेंगे एनारोबिक रेस्पिरेशन. Bacteria and fungi, yes, they normally respire anaerobically only. कुछ बैक्टीरियाज है, कुछ फंजाई है जो कि हमेशा इन एब्सेंस ऑफ ऑक्सीजन ही रेस्पायर करे. ठीक है. Plants also do respire anaerobically, but they not always. Yes, sometimes they can respire anaerobically. ठीक है. प्लांट्स कभी कभी एनारोबिकली रेस्पायर करते हैं, हमेशा नहीं. हमेशा बैक्टीरियाज और कुछ फंजाइज है जो कि एनारोबिकली रेस्पायर करते हैं. यदि हम एनारोबिक रेस्पिरेशन के बारे में देखें, सो इट हैज टू स्टेप्स अगेन. यस, first step is glycolysis and the second step is fermentation. Yes, we have already seen what is glycolysis. पहला स्टेप जो कि हमने एरोबिक रेस्पिरेशन का पहला स्टेप पढ़ा था, ग्लाइकोलिसिस, इट इज सिमिलर, वही है ग्लाइकोलिसिस. और दूसरा स्टेप यहाँ पर आएगा जो कि एरोबिक में नहीं था, एनारोबिक में रहेगा, दैट इज फर्मेंटेशन. Yes, in aerobic respiration, we have seen glycolysis, then T cycle, and then eat. Isn't it? ये तीन चीजें देखी थी. फिर यहाँ पर glycolysis पहला step रहेगा. That means what is there in the glycolysis? From glucose. Yes, the glucose is broken down in pyruvate. Yes, the energy taken out है ना, pyruvate या pyruvic formation. Glycolysis जो कि cytoplasm में takes place होगा. And you know that in the glycolysis there is no need of oxygen की कोई जरूरत नहीं है. It does not require oxygen. So the first step also in anaerobic respiration. Now after the formation of the pyruvate or the pyruvic, the second stage it fermentation. Okay, fermentation again you can divide it into दो प्रकार से हो सकता है. एक आपने बहुत कॉमन देखा है, ईस्ट फर्मेंटेशन, है ना. ऑल नो अबाउट दैट ईस्ट फर्मेंटेशन, या उसको हम बोल सकते हैं alcohol formation also. And the second type is a lactic acid formation. Acid formation. एनारोबिकली ये दो चीज हो सकती है, या तो आफ्टर द स्टेप ऑफ ग्लाइकोलिसिस फर्मेंटेशन होगा जो कि जिसको अल्कोहल फॉर्मेशन भी बोलेंगे, या फिर देयर कुड बी अ फॉर्मेशन लैक्टिक. Now, what is this different types of fermentation? We'll discuss this in detail. Glycolysis हम नहीं पढ़ रहे because glycolysis हमने इस क्लास में जब हमने aerobic respiration पढ़ा था, we have discussed that in detail. So again, just similar रहेगा. It takes place in cytoplasm. Glycolysis, where the glucose is converted into what? Glucose converted to pyruvate. or pyruvic acid, the release of yes, this process does not require any of. Remember this thing. Now coming to the next, that is first we will see the yeast fermentation. Yeast fermentation, yeast fermentation, you can say that the fermentation, it is very common in prokaryotes. Yes, you can write it down that this is common of prokaryotes. Yes, as well as some unicellular eukaryotes. Now you all must be knowing, आप सभी को पता है प्रोकैरियोट्स क्या है और यूकैरियोट्स क्या है. Yes, जनरली प्रोकैरियोट्स जो रहेंगे वो ईस्ट फर्मेंटेशन बताएंगे और कुछ सेल्युलर यूकैरियोट्स में भी आप ईस्ट फर्मेंटेशन देख सकते हैं. तो क्या होता है यहाँ जो पायरुवेट आपका ग्लाइकोलिसिस में बना है, ये कन्वर्ट होता है इथेनॉल, दैट इज वन टाइप ऑफ अल्कोहल देयर, एंड कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड. Yes, yeast fermentation, it is nothing but we can say it is incomplete breakdown of sugar, yes, into ethanol. Ethanol, you can write it like, yes, H5OH का फॉर्मूला है C2H5OH, जैसा ग्लूकोज का था C6H12O6. 5OH is also incomplete breakdown of sugar into ethanol and what? Carbon dioxide. Yes, with release of energy. Energy भी होगी. Complete breakdown नहीं है. This is incomplete breakdown. Remember this. Okay. So we can write here. हम यहाँ पे इसमें लिख सकते हैं in anaerobic में. तो ग्लूकोज है, is glucose or C6H12O6. Yes, in short I am writing you, it is converted to pyruvate, isn't it? Plus energy. And now this is taking place in absence of oxygen, isn't it? Absence of oxygen takes place in cytoplasm. Yes, and the process is called as, what is it? This is your glycolysis. अब इसके बाद ये जो पायरुवेट बना है, from this pyruvate, students, we can get in what? We can get ethanol, that is H5, sorry, C2H5OH, very sorry, plus you will get यहाँ पे two molecules, also you will get two molecules of carbon dioxide as well as 2 ATP is released. Okay, we will write it down like this, just a minute. Uh, yes. Because we have written यहाँ पे हमने इथेनॉल लिखा है, तो हम कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड यहाँ पर. Yes, and we will write energy in a form of 2 ATP, and this is your carbon dioxide. How many molecules? Two molecules of carbon dioxide there, as well as two molecules of ethanol. So this is what you can say is your yeast fermentation. तो क्या हो रहा है इस फर्मेंटेशन में? आपको इथेनॉल मिल रहा है, कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड रिलीज होगा और उसके साथ साथ एनर्जी मिलेगी. एरोबिक रेस्पिरेशन में टोटल एनर्जी, टोटल amount of number of ATPs that was produced was 38 ATPs. But you can see यहाँ पर कितने ATPs है? Only 2 ATPs are there. Isn't it? So remember this thing. So this process of fermentation, कहाँ use होता है fermentation? हम बोल रहे हैं yeast fermentation. So brewing industries, generally it is used in the brewing industries because alcohol is produced here. Yeah, it is used to produce wine, beer, cheese, isn't it? So all in this case, this yeast fermentation is very important. Now moving for the next, that is your lactic acid formation. लैक्टिक एसिड फॉर्मेशन होगा, आप देख सकते हो एनिमल सेल्स में, या लाइक स्केलेटल मसल सेल्स जो होते हैं, दे विल रेस्पायर एनाएरोबिकली. यस, अगेन इट्स हैपन समटाइम्स, नॉट ऑलवेज, हमेशा नहीं होता है, कभी कभी होता है. जनरली वी कैन से ड्यूरिंग अ विगरस एक्सरसाइज. Yeah, when a person is going for a vigorous exercise at that time, और जब ज्यादा एनर्जी की जरूरत होती है ना, एक्स्ट्रा एनर्जी की जब जरूरत होती है, वी कैन से एट दैट टाइम दिस लैक्टिक एसिड फॉर्मेशन इज डन ड्यू टू द एनारोबिक रेस्पिरेशन. You see how it happens. Yes, so this lactic acid formation is also, you can say that it is also process of incomplete breakdown of sugar. Yes, it is also process where there is, यहाँ पर इनकम्प्लीट ब्रेकडाउन हो रहा है, शुगर डाउन ऑफ शुगर. yes, into what, instead of ethanol we will write here into lactic acid. yes, and energy release. अब यहाँ पर क्या फर्क दिख रहा है आपको? इंस्टेड ऑफ इथेनॉल जो कि में बन रहा था, अल्कोहल फॉर्मेशन में बन रहा था इथेनॉल, यहाँ पर लैक्टिक एसिड बन रहा है, एनर्जी यहाँ पर भी रिलीज हो रही है. लेकिन here there is no formation of carbon dioxide, isn't it? No CO2 is formed. Can we say that? Yes, carbon dioxide is not produced here. Got it? So that is again a difference, you can make it down. Again, the ATPs or the energy release will be two molecules of ATP will be there. Yeah, you can say from in the glycolysis, glucose pyruvate is formed, and from pyruvate you get lactic acid and two molecules of ATP. It will be released. I hope this is clear. So we can write here glucose is converted to pyruvate first. Yes, in glycolysis. And from this pyruvate, we get lactic acid by incomplete breakdown, and energy in the form of ATP released. What is your lactic acid formation? Yes. तो स्टूडेंट्स लाइक, अब आप बोलोगे कि ये क्यों होता है, जब अपना ह्यूमन सेल्स, जब एनिमल सेल्स, इट इज एबल टू गो फॉर एन एरोबिक रेस्पिरेशन, है ना? Why it go for anaerobic respiration? What happens? The muscle cells, generally, if we are talking about a skeletal muscle cells, क्या हो जाता है जब कोई पर्सन बहुत ज्यादा एक्सरसाइज कर रहा है, विगरस एक्सरसाइज कर रहा है, या फिर जैसे एथलीट्स रहते हैं, they go for a continuous running or like that, isn't it? At that time what happens, students, जब fast running हो रहा है, या कोई swimmer है which is going, who is swimming continuously, so definitely it will require more energy. उसको जो नॉर्मल एनर्जी हमारी बॉडी प्रोड्यूस करेगा, उससे ज्यादा एनर्जी की जरूरत पड़ेगी. रेसलर्स होते हैं, वेट लिफ्टर्स होते हैं, yes, we can say the sports person, as well as people like us when we are doing the exercises, physical exercises, and that also vigorous physical exercise, बहुत ज्यादा. क्या होता है ऐसे समय में स्टूडेंट, हमारी बॉडी को ज्यादा एनर्जी की जरूरत पड़ती है. आवर बॉडी नीड्स एनर्जी that is not satisfied by our normal respiration. तो एरोबिक रेस्पिरेशन हमारी बॉडी कर रही है, सेल्स में जो रेस्पिरेशन हो रहा है, वो जितना एनर्जी आपको दे रहा है, उससे ज्यादा एनर्जी हमारी बॉडी को चाहिए, एंड दैट आल्सो इंस्टेंट, तभी के तभी चाहिए, बिकॉज इट इज दैट वर्क. So at that time, the muscle cells, yes, they go for this lactic acid formation. That means in this muscle cells, the glucose, it is metabolized to form a lactic acid in absence of oxygen. Yes, in absence of oxygen, it is done. I hope this is clear. Because what happens, the oxygen which is uh, taken during the respiration, that is used up faster. Yeah, when a person is doing some exercise or like that, so its deficiency is there. but the energy is again needed. So that's why in absence of oxygen also the cell cells, they will respire or they will metabolize the glucose to form a lactic. Yeah? So what is the problem if the lactic acid is? The main problem is, आप सभी को पता है कि that aerobic respiration में जैसे मैंने बताया कि the amount of energy or the ATP form is much 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 more than what is obtained in anaerobic respiration. कहाँ 38 एटीपीज मिल रहा है आपको इन एरोबिक रेस्पिरेशन में और कहाँ 2 एटीपीज मिल रहा है आपको एनएरोबिक रेस्पिरेशन. अमाउंट ऑफ एनर्जी दैट इज ऑब्टेन्ड इट इज वेरी लेस. Got it, students? Again, so we can write here. Should I write it down this much what we have learned? आज तक समझ में आया? What happens? This happens or this takes place. I can say lactic acid in muscle cells or in muscle cells or skeletal muscle cells. Animals, what happens? Anaerobic respiration, or I can write sometimes anaerobic respiration, yes, especially during vigorous exercise. Okay, so here what happens during that time? उस समय में क्या होता है? Glucose is metabolized from lactic acid and energy. Got it? Now this is a very slow process, but it is a slow process. It is very slow process. Energy in absence of oxygen we can write here. That's why it is anaerobic. Got it? Now what is the problem if lactic acid is obtained? Now this lactic acid, students, it gets accumulated. ये जो lactic acid बनेगा ना, ये lactic acid कुछ काम नहीं करेगा जबकि वो accumulate हो जाएगा, जमा हो जाएगा जहां पर वो फॉर्म हो रहा है. ओके, और क्योंकि वो वहां पे जमा हो जाएगा तो हमारे मसल में मसल क्रैम्प्स हो जाते हैं बहुत बार. द मसल क्रैम्प्स आर देयर और सम फटीग इज देयर, isn't it? When we are doing an exercise and एकदम से हम बोलते कि क्रैम्प आ गया. It happens na many times. So that is due to that lactic acid which is from there. Yes, वो lactic acid वहाँ पर जमा हो जाएगा. Not, तो वहां से नहीं निकलता है, वो वहीं के वहीं जमा हो जाता है और उसके क्रैम्प्स produce lactic acid. We can say that's why it has some toxic effects on the cells. Lactic acid have toxic effects on cells. How? Because it gets accumulated in the muscle. Because muscle cramps and sometimes fatigue can be, isn't it? Got it? तो अब इसका प्रॉब्लम, ये तो प्रॉब्लम है हमारे लिए. हमारे मसल सेल्स, इट इज हेल्पिंग अस टू गेट एन एक्स्ट्रा एनर्जी, isn't it? But because of that, the lactic acid is, and lactic acid is good for the cell. What? How this cramp can be removed? ये cramps are relief कैसे मिले? Yeah, you can get a relief from the cramp very easy. There is nothing a big deal there. क्या होता है जब हमको क्रैम्प हो जाएगा तो या तो फिर वो जगह पे आप हॉट वाटर बाथ यूज करो और टू डू सम type of massage there, isn't it? थोड़ा सा वहाँ पे massage करो, you can by your hands or like that, so that what happens, the blood circulation of that place it gets improved. जैसे ही blood circulation बराबर हो जाएगा वहाँ का, तो वहाँ पर blood आना शुरू हो जाएगा, क्योंकि लैक्टिक एसिड एक्यूमुलेट होने से ब्लड सर्कुलेशन वहाँ का उसने अटका दिया है, ब्लड प्रॉपर नहीं जा रहा है, isn't it? So when you will massage or when you will put an hot water bath there, you will do that, the blood circulation in it will improve, yeah, and the with the blood the oxygen will come there, and this oxygen when it comes there, it will break this lactic acid to carbon dioxide and water. जैसे ही ऑक्सीजन सप्लाई होगा वहां पर, तो ये जो लैक्टिक एसिड फॉर्म हुआ है उसको वो तोड़ेगा, लैक्टिक एसिड को, और कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड और वाटर में कन्वर्ट करेगा. इन दैट वे देन एवरीथिंग इट विल बी नॉर्मलाइज. आई होप दिस इज clear. We can say that this lactic acid, we can write it down. You can get the relief from the cramp. This cramps can be, write it down, the relief from the cramp can be caused or can be made by massage or taking hot water bath. Yes, by taking hot water bath. What will this do? This will improves blood circulation, blood circulation and supplies then at that place. है ना, जैसे ही ब्लड सर्कुलेशन नॉर्मल होगा, ब्लड के थ्रू ऑक्सीजन वहां पहुंचेगा, the oxygen when it reaches there, oxygen break down this lactic acid को break करेगा into carbon dioxide and water. Got it, students? In this way you can get a relief from the cramp also. But this is what happens during the anaerobic reaction or anaerobic respiration, not reaction. Sorry. Again, a very important point is the energy that is obtained. Energy obtained due, yes, anaerobic respiration is very less. Yes, it is very less. And specifically in the lactic acid formation, the carbon dioxide is not obtained at the first part. Yes, when the lactic acid is formed. So this was about the types of respiration, aerobic or anaerobic. तो हमने type of respiration अभी we have completed that. Yes, we have done with that. You can see there the aerobic as well as anaerobic respiration. What is given here? The aerobic respiration, it takes place in presence of oxygen. Anaerobic, it takes place in absence. Then aerobic occurs in all living cells of higher plants as well as animals. Whereas anaerobic respiration, it occurs in bacteria, some fungi, muscle cells of animals as well as germinating and fruits also. Okay. प्लांट्स में जब मैंने कहा ना कि कभी कभी प्लांट्स भी एनारोबिक रेस्पिरेशन करता है, वो कब करता है? जनरली द जर्मिनेटिंग सीड्स एंड द फ्रूट्स ऑफ द प्लांट्स दे डू दिस. Correct? Now the end product of aerobic respiration is carbon dioxide and water, whereas in anaerobic respiration the end products are ethanol if it is yeast fermentation, or it can be lactic acid if it is your lactic acid. Got it? Now in aerobic respiration from glucose, one molecule of glucose, we can say 38 ATPs molecules are released, whereas in anaerobic respiration you are getting only 2 ATP. In aerobic respiration again there is a complete breakdown of food or glucose, whereas in anaerobic respiration there is partial or incomplete breakdown of food occur. Aerobic respiration begins in cytoplasm and it continues in mitochondria, the TCA cycle or Krebs cycle. Yes, it takes place in mitochondria. Whereas anaerobic respiration occurs only in cytoplasm, that is the glycolysis. Aerobic respiration is non-toxic higher organism. Anaerobic, it is toxic. As I told you, lactic acid is toxic. है ना? This is a difference between the aerobic and anaerobic respiration. आप इसमें और कुछ points भी डाल सकते हो. Depends on you. Now, if there is a question, students, यदि मैं आपको question दूँ कि why aquatic animals they have faster breathing rate than a terrestrial animal. होता है क्या ऐसा? तो aquatic animals हैं, yes, उनका faster breathing rate है as compared to the terrestrial animal. Is it there? Is it true? पानी में जो एनिमल्स रहते हैं वो बहुत ज्यादा हायर ब्रीथिंग रेट से रेस्पायर करते हैं एज कंपेयर टू टेरेस्ट्रियल एनिमल. व्हाई? हाँ, लुक स्टूडेंट्स, aquatic animals जो होते हैं वो किस तरह से रेस्पायर करेंगे? दे टेक द ऑक्सीजन विच इज dissolved in the water, isn't it? So they are using the oxygen that is dissolved in water. जबकि जो terrestrial animals है, we can take the oxygen from the atmosphere. Now, where the quantity of oxygen is more, is it more in an atmosphere or it is more in a water in dissolved form? Definitely, it is more in atmosphere, isn't it? Because from there only some oxygen, when it goes and it mixes, it dissolves in the water, it gets a dissolved form of oxygen there, isn't it? So, as the terrestrial animals, they have a lot of oxygen to take, and the amount of oxygen which is in a dissolved form, it is very less as compared to the atmospheric oxygen there. That's why we can say that the aquatic animal, उनके पास पहले ही कम है ऑक्सीजन, तो उनको वो ऑक्सीजन कंटिन्यू देने के लिए उनका जो ब्रीथिंग रेट रहेगा वो बहुत फास्ट रहेगा. दे ब्रीथ वेरी फास्ट, yes, as compared to the terrestrial animal. This is the reason. So you can write the answer as aquatic animals use oxygen that is dissolved in water for respiration, whereas the terrestrial animals use oxygen in an atmosphere, from the atmosphere. Yes, since the amount of dissolved oxygen is fairly low as compared to the amount of air, the rate of breathing in an aquatic organism is much faster than in a terrestrial organism. Got it? So this is an answer of the question. इसी तरह से बहुत सारे questions आप अपने आप सोच सकते हैं, and you can also get the answers also. Now there is one more question in my mind, that is respiration and combustion same? Respiration और combustion same है क्या? Combustion we know what is it? When something is heated, burning, isn't it? In a simple way हम बोलेंगे burning. क्योंकि मैं ये क्यों पूछ रही हूँ, क्योंकि इन रेस्पिरेशन ऑल्सो वी नो दैट द एनर्जी इज रिलीज. रेस्पिरेशन में भी एनर्जी रिलीज हो रही है, कंबशन में भी एनर्जी रिलीज होती है. व्हेन समथिंग इज बर्न्ड, एनर्जी इज रिलीज. के साथ साथ कंबशन में कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड भी रिलीज होता है, रेस्पिरेशन में भी कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड रिलीज होता है. सो आर दिस बोथ प्रोसेस आर सेम? Yes. If yes, then why it is same, and if no, then what is the difference there? So I will say, students, uh, definitely the respiration and combustion, they are not same. Yes, there is some difference between them. We will discuss that difference, or you can find it as a homework also. Will you do that? Yes, if there is one more question in my mind, that what is the difference between anaerobic respiration in plants and animals? I am not asking difference between aerobic and anaerobic respiration. I am asking difference between anaerobic respiration in plants and in animals. Yeah? Such questions you can form and you can take it uh, as a homework also. So I will give you some hint for this. Aerobic or anaerobic respiration, sorry, in plants and animals, I can give, like you can make a difference on the basis of some energy, as well as if you remember, I can give you that we can also what is the end product between both. That way also you can take a difference. आप ऐसे भी difference निकाल सकते हो. एक difference मत रहेगा कि what is an end product for the anaerobic respiration in plants and in animals. From that only 2 points you will get. Yes, this you have to solve by your own. Just think about it. If you did not get, you just comment in the comment box. I'll tell you the answer. I've given you hint. Okay, about the first one, as I told you that yes, respiration and combustion are definitely not same. There is a difference. Will you solve that? Or should I give you some points on that? If I go for a respiration and combustion, come on, I will give you some points. You can add your own also. Points मैं दे रही हूँ, कुछ points आप निकाल सकते हो difference के. If I talk about respiration and combustion, on first an important point I can say, respiration it is a biochemical process. I say एक biochemical process है, जबकि combustion क्या related to something bio है? No, it is chemical process. Yes, it is physiochemical process there, student. Now, respiration takes place in a cell, so it is cellular. ये हर एक सेल में होता है. क्या combustion सेल में होता है? Things we can burn outside anywhere. Yes, so it is not a cellular, it is non-cellular. Respiration, it is a multiple steps process. Yes, it occurs in series of steps. Whereas combustion is a single step. We take a thing and we will burn it. So it is a single step process. Here the energy is released definitely in respiration, but it is released, the energy is released as heat and it is converted into ATP. So we can write here energy is as heat and ATP. Whereas in combustion, combustion में हमने सुना है कोई ATP formation होता है? No. So here we can write the energy released as heat, and जब हम burn करते हैं तो क्या होता है? आग दिखती है, so we can write heat and light there. Okay. In respiration, some respiratory enzymes are needed. Isn't it? Enzymes required a process में. Here there is no enzymes. No enzymes required. Got it? क्योंकि ये physiochemical process है. के बाद में respiration we can also make one point that it occurs at a body temperature. Body temperature के हिसाब से respiration होगा. लेकिन combustion कब होता है? You know, you must have seen in the chemistry that it occurs at an ignition point. It requires ignition point. Now, what is ignition point? That is the minimum temperature that is required to start a combustion. है ना? कंबशन करने के लिए, किसी चीज को बर्न करने के लिए एक मिनिमम टेम्परेचर रिक्वायर्ड होता है, जिसको हम इग्निशन टेम्परेचर बोलते हैं. जब वो सब्सटेंस का इग्निशन टेम्परेचर रीच होगा तभी तो कंबशन होगा. देन ओनली द बर्निंग कैन हैपन. But the respiration it occurs at a room temperature. That is also one difference you can add there. I am not writing there, but yes, you can add that also. So in this points you can say that respiration and the combustion are not same. They are different. Yes, we know that carbon dioxide is released. Energy is also released in both the process. Yes, but still they are not same because type of energy, the form of energy which is released, it is not the same. There are so many different differences also. I hope this is clear, students. So this was about इस तरह से कुछ points आ सकते हैं, कुछ questions आपके दिमाग में आ सकते हैं. You can solve it. And yes, if some more doubt is there, you can definitely ask me anytime. So we will make a very fast overview there. So the process of respiration, if I am taking, यदि हम बात करते हैं प्रोसेस ऑफ रेस्पिरेशन में, हम दोनों ले लेंगे, एरोबिक और एनएरोबिक रेस्पिरेशन. तो पहला स्टेप यस जो कि कॉमन है सभी में, कौन सा है वो स्टेप? ग्लूकोज, यस इट कन्वर्टेड इनटू पायरुवेट, common for aerobic as well as anaerobic, isn't it? With that, energy is also released. Am I right? Yeah. So this process is, what is it? The process takes place in cytoplasm, and this is called as glycolysis. तो हम बोलते हैं glycolysis. The same or common in aerobic and anaerobic respiration. Isn't it? अब इसके बाद में जो सेकेंड स्टेप है, सेकेंड स्टेप में क्या जाएगा? ये बन गया आपका पायरुवेट. फ्रॉम दिस पायरुवेट कैन मेक द थ्री थिंग्स. यस, हम तीन चीज बता सकते हैं. एक आपका एरोबिकली क्या बन रहा है, और दो चीज में जाएगा, दो स्टेप्स इट विल द एनारोबिक. So from this pyruvate, if I go in presence of oxygen, that is aerobic respiration. What you get? आपको मिलेगा 6 molecules of carbon dioxide, 6 water molecules, and energy in a form of 38 ATP. Yes. तो ये कौन सा प्रोसेस है? ये आपका हो गया. हाँ. So this is aerobic respiration. Yes, this is aerobic respiration. Aerobically we can say. This happens, that means in presence of oxygen. And it takes place where? It takes place in mitochondria. Remember, ये वाला process कहाँ हो रहा है? ये mitochondria में हो रहा है ना? After that, the next is your anaerobic. In anaerobic, we can make it. One could be the lactic acid, and the another could be the yeast fermentation. Yes. So if there is an absence of oxygen or lack of oxygen, I can say lack of oxygen, not absence of oxygen. जब ऑक्सीजन की कमी होती है तो आपका लैक्टिक एसिड बनेगा. लैक्टिक एसिड and energy is formed this in a form of 2 ATP. है ना? And three molecules of lactic acid, not three molecules, but the lactic acid is a 3 carbon compound, remember. In total absence of oxygen, जब oxygen का absence है completely, at that time you get ethanol. Yes, plus carbon dioxide, again 2 molecules of carbon dioxide plus 2 molecules of ATP. That is enough for, that is an energy there. So this can happen. I'm changing the colors, that so that आपको पता चलना चाहिए change difference क्या है. Anaerobically, here not a complete absence of oxygen, but I will write the lack of oxygen. Yes, this takes place in muscle cells. Here, now यहाँ पर आप बोलोगे absence of oxygen. Yes, ये हम बोल सकते हैं yeast में देखा जाता है generally. That's why we also called it as an yeast fermentation. Yeah. In this way respiration को हम ये एक छोटे से टेबल से, छोटे से चार्ट से बता सकते हैं, समझा सकते हैं. मसल सेल्स में सिर्फ आप एक्सरसाइज ह्यूमन का ही ना देखो, आप दूसरे एनिमल्स में भी देखो, लाइक टाइगर, चीता. You know that the cheetah leopards, they run very fast. Yes, when they are running very fast, sometimes, yes, they also get the cramps. Why? Because of the formation of this lactic acid, because their muscle cells, the skeletal cells, they will also go for anaerobic respiration because it needs more energy for the running. And at that time, because of the accumulation of lactic acid, they can also get cramps. Okay, ऐसा नहीं है कि सिर्फ हमको ही होता है. If I'm talking about any animals who is performing this anaerobic respiration, it can get this because of the formation of lactic acid. One more thing I would like to tell you students, आपने देखा होगा जब योगर्ट रहता है, yes, योगर्ट कभी खट्टा हो जाता है. Why it becomes sour there? Because students, what happens? Sometimes some bacteria, they feed on the sugar. Yes, we know the bacteria feed on sugar. So when the bacteria grow on this yogurt, na, they will feed on the sugar and break that sugar into lactic acid. Yes, and this lactic acid which is formed there in the yogurt, it turns it to sour. Got it? So there also you can say because of the this is an anaerobic respiration there or the lactic acid formation, and this lactic acid can make the yogurt sour. Okay, this is just an extra information for you. I hope understood, and I hope what is respiration and the different types of respiration it is also done for all of you. Yeah. So we will meet soon with the next class of respiration. हम human respiratory system और respiration का mechanism पढ़ेंगे in the next class. Till then, all of you, bye bye. Take care. Thank you all. Keep learning till we next class. All the best for your studies. You can also download the Earth Academy app, where in the app you will get a complete course. Yes, with the notes, question answers, the practice test, and much more there. Okay. So the link is also given. You can download it from the Play Store. Um, till the next class. See you all. Bye bye. Take. Bye.